Anyone who wants to explain why A?
Well,
okay, go ahead.
yeah,
please.
go ahead, please go ahead.
Yeah, Mubashir, please.
I think
Right.
you explain. Yes, everybody wants you to explain. So yes.
All right, so I used elimination. D is not an option because that's no action, and we don't really use burn down charts to evaluate team performance. B is not the option because reducing the backlog is counter to creating a useful product. The user stories are there for a reason. C is again not a solution to the problem at hand. Even if we add the needed time for story plan completion, that would still carry over to the next iterations we have, where we would have wrong estimates for the story points. It wouldn't improve productivity. A is the correct answer because we will provide team training, and with training, since it's a self-organized in Agile, it's a self-organizing and self-sufficient team. They will be able to do a better job of estimating the story points.
Correct. Very, very well explained. See, what is the problem in hand? The problem in hand is that this team is moving to the Agile approach, which means that the transition, that's the most difficult part in the real world. Transition from the predictive or hybrid to the core Agile is very, very difficult when it comes to adaptability, when it comes to understanding story point expectations and the approaches and the early deliveries, and not early deliveries, but like frequent deliveries. And, that mindset, adaptation to mindset, to a new mindset is very different, or it's very different and difficult always for a respected person in the team. And same case is happening in this team. So they are struggling. They are struggling in completing the expected or committed story points. Like I told you during the discussion, that this is a common problem, that teams overcommit or at times undercommit as well. And at the teams at times do not have the right perspective when it comes to the story point estimation. So they don't really understand that even when the mapping is in front of them, they don't really understand that what does 2 represent to when it comes to the effort estimation, what does 3 represent to when it comes to the effort estimation. And the biggest trouble is the same that we have discussed, that they do not take into consideration the associated effort and the meetings that we need, and they just give you the effort of the exact work which they are going to take, and they do not really associate the underlying effort for that. So they end up giving you the they end up giving you more estimates. They end up giving you more story points, and they deliver less for the reason that they have not understood the idea well. They do less work than expected because they have not really counted that work, associated work for that span of time. So the same thing is happening over here. They are not completing the expected or planned story points which they have committed to in the sprint planning meeting, and now they are just getting passive. Their morale is down, and their confidence is low because they are continuously declining when it comes to team velocity. And so there is a person who is a project manager. Maybe it's not a hardcore Agile, it's like a hybrid, and the project manager still exists. So he wants to improve the productivity. Of course, coaching and training and mentoring is needed from someone who is pretty much towards Agile, who has been working in Agile for a long time, and they can guide the affected team member about where they are lacking, what they should be doing, how they should be perceiving, and maybe some mentoring and coaching session can be helpful about better estimation of story points to be more specific. So I think why A is an answer is very clear. Why B, C, D is not an answer, let's quickly talk about that. See, whatever the problem is, reducing the scope of backlog without a good enough justification is never a solution, which is not provided for it. No matter how much you reduce the backlog, the root cause analysis is not going to be there. The underlying problem is still going to be there. Even with the less scope or less backlog, the problem is going to exist, because that's not even the problem. If they are not bothered about the scope, they are bothered about the procedure, the ways of working. Similarly, adding more iterations or more time, giving them more time, maybe in the short term that may work, but again, that's not a long-term solution, because no, they are not really bothered about that time. They are bothered about the right estimations, the right way of perceiving or assigning the story point to the task. It's not about they are not capable to do that. It's about they are not understanding it in the right mindset. They need help over there, not less scope, more time. I mean, even if you give them double the time and the problem still exists, they end up not delivering as per the expectation, because the root cause analysis or the nipping the evil in the bud is not happening. Right? Eliminating the problem from its root is very important in project management. By the way, why D is not an answer? So for those who don't know, burndown chart is a very popular chart in Agile for team performance monitoring. We are going to talk about it in monitoring session. However, a chart, like any task board or chart or graph or any report, is just a representation of your performance. It doesn't tell you, it tells you where the problem is. And you already know the problem. They have given you the problem. So the problem is known, and the same thing is being represented over here. It represents the problem. So it's not a big deal. You already know the problem. Chart is also going to tell you the same. Chart is also going to give you show you a decline in productivity or team velocity, which is fine. You know that. You want a solution. D is not a solution to that. D is going to only represent what you already know. It's not a solution. So you want a solution, and solution is A. Training, coaching, helping, maybe during the planning, right estimations, and that is going to solve the problem from its root. So that's why it's an answer.